Ever feel like you're drowning in marketing tips? Like everyone's promising the secret sauce to attract clients, but it never quite seems to pan out the way they say.
It's easy to feel lost, that's for sure.
Lost is an understatement. So today we're doing a deep dive into a book that promises a more, shall we say, grounded approach.
Ah, you must be talking about Scott Lawrence's targeted blogs. Yeah, he really cuts through the noise, doesn't he?
He does, and one of the things I appreciate most is he doesn't shy away from the big shift that's happened online. I mean, remember when it seemed like all you needed was a catchy Facebook post and bam, clients everywhere?
Those were the days.
Right. Lawrence argues those days are, well, gone. He's all about embracing a more, how does he put it, a more strategic paid approach. But is that really the only game in town now? Paid traffic?
It's definitely becoming more and more important, that's for sure. The online world's gotten a lot more crowded, Algorithms are constantly changing, competition's fierce. It's tough to stand out.
That makes sense. But before we even get to websites and ads and all that, Lawrence spends a surprising amount of time on, well, mindset. He even talks about using breath work to improve marketing results. I'll admit, I was skeptical.
Really, I can see how that might seem a bit out there.
A bit. So is there really a connection between a calm mind and marketing success?
Absolutely. Think about it.
Hmm.
An athlete wouldn't just jump into a competition without warming up, right?
Hmm.
Or a musician wouldn't walk on stage without practicing.
That's a good point.
Right. We need to prepare ourselves mentally, just like we prepare for anything else important. And breathwork, mindfulness, those are just tools to help us focus, manage stress, bring clarity to our work.
Sharpening the saw before you cut down the tree.
Exactly.
Speaking of preparation, I love how Lawrence breaks down this whole design your offer process. It can seem so daunting, but he makes it really manageable.
Yeah, his six-step process is super practical,
Yeah.
and it really forces you to think about what your ideal client truly wants, what problems you're solving for them.
And I love that little psychological tip he throws in about adding a bonus.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. People love feeling like they're getting extra value.
Okay, let's talk about this whole paid traffic thing. Lawrence doesn't mince words, does he?
He's very direct, that's for sure.
He pretty much says if you want results, you've got to be willing to invest.
He's not wrong.
But is it really that black and white?
Well, there's always nuance, right? But he raises a valid point. The online world has changed. Paid advertising is just part of the game now. But it's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's about being strategic.
He tells this great story about creating a simple Google blog campaign for like $50 and landing 3 clients. It almost seems too good to be true.
It does, doesn't it? And of course, it's never quite that simple. But it illustrates his point that even a small targeted campaign can be incredibly effective.
So it's about being smart with your spending, not just spending more.
Exactly. It's about understanding ROI, return on investment. You want to make sure that every dollar you spend is actually bringing in more clients and more revenue.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset, crafting a compelling offer, the importance of paid traffic. What else does Lawrence highlight as being crucial for attracting clients in today's market?
He talks a lot about visibility, basically, making sure you're showing up consistently in your target market, building that top-of-mind awareness.
Because it's not enough to just like build a website and wait for the clients to roll in, right?
Right. You got to be proactive. Keep your audience engaged, keep reminding them you exist and what you can do for them. Even if you're already an established business, you can't get complacent.
And this is where it gets really interesting because Lawrence ties this idea of visibility back to his own experience with, well, with internal conflict. He actually gets pretty personal in the book, talks about his own struggles and how they impacted his business.
I think that's one of the things that makes the book so powerful. He's willing to be vulnerable to show that he's human, just like the rest of us.
Exactly. He's not just some marketing guru on a pedestal. He's been in the trenches. He's made mistakes. He's learned from them. And that makes him so much more relatable.
Totally. And I think that's something people really crave these days, authenticity.
Mhm.
We're bombarded with so much marketing noise, so many polished, perfect images. When someone's willing to be real, to show their flaws and imperfections, it makes them stand out.
And that leads into what I think is one of the most fascinating concepts in the book, Lawrence's framework of honesty, humility, heroism. It's not exactly something you typically associate with marketing.
Right. It sounds a bit odd at first.
It does, but the more you think about it, the more sense it makes.
Totally. Because at the end of the day, people connect with other people, right? And we're drawn to those who are genuine, who are relatable, who are willing to be vulnerable.
So how does this actually translate into, actionable marketing strategies? What does it look like to embrace honesty, humility, and heroism in our marketing.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how do we actually weave those qualities into what we put out there?
It's about shifting your perspective a bit. Instead of just highlighting your successes all the time, what if you shared a story about a time you messed up?
You mean like a failure?
Well, not necessarily a huge failure,
Yeah.
but a time you made a mistake, learned from it, and came out stronger on the other side.
I see. Showing that you're human. You don't
Yeah.
have all the answers.
Ah,
Exactly. It
right.
makes you relatable,
Yeah.
and people connect with that.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about your marketing, ask yourself, what story can I share that shows my journey that I'm still learning too?
Because none of us have it all figured out, right?
Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah.
In fact, it's more than okay. It's what makes us human. And that human element, that's what people connect with.
Okay, so that's honesty. What about humility? How do we bring that in?
Humility is about being a guide, not a guru. It's about saying, hey, I've learned a few things along the way and I'm happy to share them with you. Instead of, I have all the answers, just listen to me.
So it's less about me and more about we.
Exactly. It's a partnership. You're on this journey together.
I like that. So where does the heroism come in?
Heroism is about empowering your clients.
Mm.
It's about giving them the tools, the knowledge, the support they need to overcome their own obstacles and achieve their goals.
So it's not just about what you do for them, but how you help them grow and succeed.
Exactly. It's about being a guide on their journey.
Hmm.
Now, all of this ties back to something else. Lawrence talks about being visible, showing up consistently in your target market.
Right. Because it's not enough to just have a great website or run a few ads every now and then.
Not at all. It's about building relationships.
Yeah.
And relationships take time and effort. You wouldn't expect to be best friends with someone after meeting them just once, would you?
Definitely not.
It's the same with your audience. You need to nurture those connections, share valuable content, engage in conversations, be present.
So when they're finally ready to buy, you're the first person they think of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've built that trust. You've shown that you're invested in their success.
It all comes back to that, and trust factor.
Precisely. And that takes time and consistency. But it's the foundation of a successful business.
We've covered so much ground here. Mindset, offer design, paid traffic visibility, and this really interesting framework of honesty, humility, heroism. It feels like Lawrence is advocating for a whole new way of thinking about marketing.
Yes. It's about shifting from a transactional approach to a relational one. It's about building genuine connections with your audience and offering real value.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about making a sale. It's about making a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for our listeners out there, what's one tangible thing they can do today to start embracing this more authentic approach to marketing? That's the million-dollar question, right? It's easy to talk about, but actually doing it, that's where the rubber meets the road.
You got it. It's a real mindset shift.
Right.
But once you make it, it's so worth it.
So where do we even start?
Well, how about picking one thing, just one, in your marketing, where you can dial up the authenticity?
Okay, I like that.
So maybe you give people a peek behind the curtain, show them how something actually gets done.
Oh, you mean like how we make these podcasts?
Exactly. Or talk about something you're struggling with. Be real about it.
Not like air all your dirty laundry, but
Right, of course not. But be relatable.
the show.
Show you're human. Or, here's a good one, highlight a client's success, but not just what you did. Tell their story, how they overcame something.
Show how you were their guide, not the hero of the whole thing.
You got it. Honesty, humility, heroism, all wrapped up in one.
It's about that we, again, not me, me, me.
You're getting it. And honestly, that shift, it's not just good for business, it's good for your soul.
No cheesy marketing BS here. This deep dive has been eye-opening. We've been through the whole roller coaster of online marketing, the death of organic reach, how paid ads fit in, and this whole thing about being real, being a guide.
It's a wild world out there.
It is. But if there's just one thing I want everyone listening to remember, it's this. Forget trying to be the loudest voice. Forget having the fanciest website.
What matters then?
Connections. Real, genuine connections. Showing up as you. Providing something actually valuable to people. That's how you win. Be a guide. Someone people trust. And that all starts with being honest with yourself about your journey, even the messy parts.
Beautifully said. Build a business that lights you up, not just your bank account.
And on that note, another deep dive is done. We hope you've enjoyed it, learned something maybe, and most importantly, feel ready to take action. Don't be afraid to try things out. Find what feels right for you. That's the key to a business that lasts. Until next time, keep your mind sharp and your business is booming.